In November 2022, Little Simz signed a deal worth £2 million. But here's what shocked the industry. She did it without signing her life away to a major label. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how she built a Mercury Prize-winning empire while keeping 80% of her royalties. And why she had to cancel a US tour because she literally couldn't afford to go, despite being a millionaire. October 2022. Little Simz stood on stage accepting the Mercury Prize, Britain's most prestigious music award. She beat out Harry Styles, Sam Fender, and Self-Esteem. But while everyone else at that ceremony was signed to major labels making millions for their bosses, Little Simz kept every penny for herself. Well, almost every penny. See, most artists signed to Universal, Sony, or Warner keep maybe 15 to 20% of their revenue. Little Simz, she keeps 80 to 85%. That's the difference between making $200,000 and making $850,000 from the same $1 million in sales. Today, Little Simz controls her masters, owns her label Age 101, and has proven that you don't need a major label to win. But the path? It's brutal, risky, and financially terrifying. Welcome back to The Money Move. I'm your host, Amber, and today we're breaking down Little Simz's independent blueprint. Because this is the story every DIY artist needs to hear. The good, the bad, and the financially devastating. Let's go. Before Little Simz was winning awards, she was Simbiatu Ajikawo, a Nigerian-British kid from North London who started rapping at age 9. By 14, she was recording in youth clubs. By 21, she'd already released 2 albums. But here's the move most artists don't make. At age 21, she launched her own record label called Age 101. Not a vanity imprint under a major, an actual independent label where she was the boss. In 2015, she released her debut album, A Curious Tale of Trials Plus Persons, through Age 101, distributed by AWAL, Artists Without a Label. This is critical to understand. AWAL isn't a record label. They're a distribution service. The difference? Labels own your music. Distributors just help you get it to Spotify and Apple Music. Think of it like this. A label is like selling your house to a landlord who then rents it back to you. A distributor is like hiring a property manager who takes a small fee, but you still own the house. And Little Simz? She got offers from every major label. Universal, Sony, Warner. All 3 came knocking. She said no to all of them. She told Music Week, "It always sounds very appealing when you're being wined and dined and promised things. But I talked to friends on major labels. I wanted all the perspectives. I might be missing a trick, but I found something that works for me. I'm definitely a stairs person and not on the escalator journey." Stairs versus escalator. That's the philosophy. Slow, painful climb where you control every step. Or fast ride up where someone else controls the buttons. And that philosophy? It made her a millionaire. But first, let's talk about how she actually makes money. But here's where most people get it twisted. Independence doesn't mean freedom from money stress. In fact, what happened in April 2022 proves that even millionaire independent artists face brutal financial realities. Stay with me. Money move number 1. Own your masters and keep 80% of everything. Let's break down the actual numbers. In November 2022, Little Simz signed a new deal with AWAL for 3 albums. The terms? A £2 million advance, that's about 2.5 million US dollars, plus £625,000 to cover recording costs for the 3rd album. Now here's the critical difference between this and a major label deal. When Universal or Sony gives you $2 million, they own your music. When AWAL gives you £2 million, it's an advance against your royalties from music you still own. AWAL takes about 15% as their distribution and services fee. Little Simz keeps the other 85%. On a major label, you'd be lucky to keep 18% after they recoup costs, take their cut, and deduct expenses. Let's do the math. Say Little Simz generates £1 million from streaming, sync licensing, and sales. After recouping that £2 million advance, here's what she actually keeps. Independent model with AWAL. She keeps £850,000 of that million. Major label model? She'd keep maybe £180,000 of that same million. That's nearly 5 times more money in her pocket for the same work. But streaming isn't where she makes the real money. It's sync licensing. Every time her music appears in a Netflix show like Top Boy, where she also acts, by the way, she gets paid. Apple commercials, Adobe ads, Miu Miu fashion campaigns. Because she owns her masters, she keeps almost 100% of those sync fees. Her brand partnerships include Bose headphones, JD Sports, and high fashion collaborations with Miu Miu. These aren't just endorsement checks. They're strategic partnerships that elevate her brand while generating 6-figure paydays. And here's something most modern artists ignore: physical sales. At one point, 81% of Little Simz's revenue came from physical media: vinyl, CDs, cassettes, while only 17% came from streaming. Why? Because her fan base is loyal. They don't just stream, they buy. This is her strategy: depth over width. She doesn't chase TikTok virality or radio hits. She builds a core fan base willing to pay £100 for concert tickets and £30 for limited edition vinyl. That's sustainable income. We're halfway through, but now I need to show you the dark side of independence. Because in April 2022, despite being worth millions, Little Simz made a decision that shocked her fans and exposed the brutal economics of independent touring. Keep watching. Money move number 2. Know when to say no, even when it hurts. April 19th, 2022. Little Simz was riding high. She just won Best New Artist at the BRIT Awards. Her album, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, was critically acclaimed. She had a 10-date US tour scheduled: Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Toronto, Boston, New York. Then she posted this: "Due to unforeseen circumstances, I've been left with no option but to reschedule my US tour. Being an independent artist, I pay for everything encompassing my live performances out of my own pocket, and touring the US for a month would leave me in a huge deficit." Let me explain what this means. When you're an independent artist, you pay for flights for your band and crew, hotels for everyone for a month, tour bus rental, sound equipment, lighting, stage production, visas and work permits for international crew, insurance, and marketing. She continued, "As much as this pains me to not see you at this time, I'm just not able to put myself through that mental stress." Mental stress, not just financial. The stress of potentially losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's the difference. If you're signed to Universal and your tour loses money, the label absorbs the loss. If you're Little Simz and your tour loses money, you absorb the loss from your own bank account. She ended her statement with, "A message to all artists and creatives: know your worth and stick to your guns." Translation: don't tour just because you're supposed to. Don't bankrupt yourself chasing American validation. Protect your finances first. And here's the business savvy. She kept her European tour dates. Why? Because touring in the UK and Europe is cheaper. Shorter distances, smaller crew travel costs, more efficient. Her Glastonbury and Leeds Festival performances went ahead as planned because the economics worked. The response? Her fans respected the transparency. Instead of losing credibility, she gained it. Because she showed artists the real game. Independence means making hard business decisions, even when it disappoints people. Almost done. But there's one more money move that separates Little Simz from every other independent artist. And it involves producer drama, legal battles, and over £1.7 million in unpaid loans. This is the risk nobody talks about. Money move number 3, protect yourself legally, even with friends. Little Simz' success is inseparable from her producer inflow. Real name, Dean Cover. He produced her 3 most successful albums, Gray Area, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, and No Thank You. Their creative partnership won Ivor Novello Awards. But business? That's where it got messy. Remember that £2 million AWAL deal? Before Little Simz received the official £625,000 recording budget from AWAL, she personally loaned Inflow £350,000 and then another £275,000 to start recording the 3rd album. That's £625,000 of her own money up front. Why would she do this? Because Inflow encouraged her to leave her previous deal and advised her throughout the AWAL negotiation. She trusted him. They were creative partners, friends even. But in 2025, Little Simz filed a lawsuit. According to the legal filing, Inflow only spent about £524,000 on recording costs, meaning he should have returned over £100,000 to her. He allegedly didn't. Then it gets worse. In December 2023, Little Simz loaned Inflow £1 million to finance the first ever live performance by SAULT, Inflow's enigmatic music collective, at London's Drumsheds. The loan terms? Repay within 3 days. The concert happened. Tickets were £99 each. Expensive, controversial. But Inflow allegedly never repaid the £1 million. Little Simz' legal team claims he kept saying he was still getting his deal over the line and would send it back as soon as it lands. Here's where it gets devastating. Because Inflow didn't repay the money, Little Simz couldn't pay her full tax liability in January 2024. She got hit with interest and penalties from the UK tax authorities. All because she trusted a collaborator with £1.7 million. The lesson? Even with creative partners you trust, get everything in writing. Sign contracts, set repayment deadlines, hire lawyers. Because independence means you are responsible for protecting your money. Nobody else will. Money move number 4, build assets, not just income. So what does Little Simz actually own? First, her label Age 101. It's not just her music. She can sign other artists, build a roster, and create a legacy brand that outlives her own career. Acting income. She's a main cast member on Netflix's Top Boy and appeared in Amazon Prime's adaptation of The Power. These are profitable acting contracts that supplement music income. Because Inflow advised her to self-publish instead of signing with Universal Music Publishing, she owns her songwriting rights too. Every stream, every radio play, every cover. She gets paid as both the artist and the songwriter. Double the royalties. And when touring does make financial sense, like her UK and European shows, she keeps a much higher percentage of ticket sales than label artists, who often give up 30 to 50% of touring revenue in 360 deals. So what's Little Simz actually worth? Conservative estimates put her at £2 to £4 million, around $3 to $5 million US dollars. Not Bad Bunny or Taylor Swift money. But here's what matters. She owns it all. This is the trade-off. A major label artist might be worth $20 million on paper, but only keeps $3 million after the label takes their cut. Little Simz might be worth $5 million, but she keeps $4 million of it. That's the independence premium. She won a Mercury Prize, a BRIT Award, Ivor Novello Awards. She acts on Netflix. She runs her own label. She creates on her own terms. And when the economics don't make sense, like that US tour, she has the power to say no. So there you have it. Little Simz' 5 money moves. 1. Own your masters and keep 80% instead of 15%. 2. Know when to say no, even when it disappoints people. 3. Protect yourself legally, even with friends. 4. Build assets, not just income streams. 5. Choose depth over width. Loyal fans who buy, not casual streamers. Little Simz proved that you don't need a major label to win awards, headline festivals, or build wealth. But she also proved that independence is hard. It's risky. It's stressful. You're responsible for everything, the wins and the losses. The lesson for aspiring artists? Independence isn't for everyone. But if you're willing to climb the stairs instead of taking the escalator, if you're willing to say no to bad deals, and if you're willing to protect your assets like a business owner, you can build an empire on your terms. Little Simz once said, "Know your worth and stick to your guns." That's not just advice. That's a business philosophy. And it's why she's one of the most important artists of this generation. Next week, we're looking at a man who had 7 #1 singles and then seemingly vanished to build a property empire worth millions. You don't want to miss the Tinie Tempah breakdown. But if you want to see another mogul in the game, we've already broken down the money moves of the one and only Vybz Kartel. How does one of the most influential artists in dancehall history build an empire from behind bars? That video is linked right here. Go check it out, and I'll see you next week.
It's faded, baby.